Hey guys, and welcome to today's tutorial video. And in this video we are going to be going over the basics of how to deal with functions in Python. So what are functions? Ideally, functions are basically data containers on where we can store lines of code that will not run unless the user wants them to run. So how can we make these functions? To make a function, you basically have to start with the keyword def, which is short for define, followed by the keyword def, which is short for define. We go to the function name. So I'm going to name my function addition, and this function will be a basic addition function. So I'm going to add a pair of parentheses and full colons, just like this, and I'm going to set variable a to be 5 and variable b to be, let's say, 10, and I'll have to print variable a plus b. So this is what I'm going to print. These are the results. And if I was to run this code, ideally nothing would happen because I have not code for this function yet. So if I run my code, nothing will show up in the terminal. As you can see, nothing has shown up. So if I want to make this code run, I have to remove the indent and type in the name of the function, which is addition, and add a set of parentheses. Ideally, what this line of code does is it calls for this function to actually run. And in our terminal, we should see an output of the summation of a and b, which is 15, as you can see right here. Another key feature is the use of parameters in the creation of functions. So ideally what parameters are undeclared variables that are declared at the core of the function. I know that might sound confusing, but let me explain it further. So let me go back to the define addition function. And in this parentheses, if we have a variable that's not yet decided, we can say b, which will be the name of our undecided variable. And what this function is going to do is it's going to print the summation of 10 plus b. And this is what our function is going to do. But as you can see, b is not yet declared. So how are we going to declare b? We type in the name of our function, and inside these parameters, we type in the value of b, which was passed here in these parameters. And I'm going to type it to be, I'm going to say 90, and we're expected to have the number 100 in our terminal as an output. So let me go over this one more time. As you can see in our terminal, we have 100 right there. And although these 3 lines of code might look a bit confusing to most beginners, how this essentially works is this is our main function. def is how we start our functions. And addition, as you can see here, is the name of our function with an open parameter and a closed parameter. Within these parameters is an undeclared variable, which we're going to call a passed parameter. And this undeclared variable is being used within the function. So in this print statement, we're supposed to print 10, which is a variable. It's basically a number. It's not a variable. It's an integer. 10 plus b, which is our undeclared variable. And as you can see, in this line of code here, we are calling our function, which is the line of code that actually is responsible for compiling our whole function. Without this line of code, our function will not run. So in these parameters for this specific function, we need to type in the variable we're going to pass for b. As you can see, we're moving this very b right over here. This is the same b that's right here. All we need is to put in the value of b, and I will state 90. And we can continue doing this for as many times as we call our function in different places of our code, and we can keep on giving it different numbers. And I'm going to say addition, and in this one I'm going to say 10. So in these 3 calls, all having different values for the parameter b, in our terminal we're expected to have 3 different output numbers. In our first output, we're expected to see 100, as you can see right here. In our second output, we can see 30, which is a summation of 10 and 20. And in the last one, we see 20, which is the summation of 10 and another 10. So this is how you can pass parameters in the creation of functions. And you can also use this for user input. Let's say you want a greet function, def greet, which is our greet function, and we will have name. Our name function is right here. And let's say we want to print our name. I'll say print hello plus right here plus name plus welcome. I'm going to say welcome. So this is our function, and as you can see, our function doesn't have a name variable, but it has the parameter of name right here. So if we're to call our greet function and say greet, we would type in our name, let's say John, just like that. And when we run our code, we're expected to see hello name, which is going to be John, as we've passed John inside our parameters here. We would see hello John, welcome. And as you can see right here, we have hello John and welcome with no space there. We forgot to add the space. If we were to run our code a second time with a space before the welcome right there, we would see hello John space and welcome, like a complete sentence, just like this. Hello John, welcome. And that's the basics of how to work with parameters with functions in Python. Another key feature you can use for user input is the input function. And as a beginner, you must know this because it's a basic function. But if you don't know it, let me give you a quick brief on how you use it. I can say name is equal to input, a set of parentheses and quotation marks. And within these quotation marks is our prompt. What is our prompt going to be? So I'm going to type in what is your name, and this is going to be our prompt. And at the end of it, I'm going to print out welcome plus name, just like this. And this is our basic function, our basic script that's supposed to input our name, store it in the variable name, and print out welcome plus the name we input in the terminal. So when we run our code, ideally what we should see in our terminal is the prompt, what is your name? As you can see right here, I'm going to type in John, just like that. And when I hit enter, I would see an output of welcome John, just like this. So how can we use this in a function? Let's say def, this is my greet function, and this will be my name, just like this. And I'm going to print out hello plus name, just like this. And this is our basic function. So we're going to create our input variable. Username is equal to input. So what is your name? And this is our input prompt. And when we run our code, we can run greet and then type in username. So username here is going to be used as our name in this function. So whatever we input is the name that's going to be passed in this function and printed right after hello. So this might look a bit confusing at first glance, but if we were to run our code and see the back behind it, we would see a prompt saying, what is your name? I'll type Michael this time, hit enter, and it would type out, hello, Michael. So how can we use this in a real case? As you can see, this is our function. def, the name of our function is greet, and we have a parameter which is called name. Name is not declared yet. And as you can see in our function here, we have print hello plus name, and name is not declared yet. So our username is equal to input what is your name. That's the prompt we got right here, what is your name? And the name we type in here is going to get stored inside the username variable. So when we run this specific function, we type in the name of the function, a set of parentheses, and inside these parentheses is the value of the parameter we want to give. And in this case, our parameter is going to be username, which is the input we pass in right here. And we can have different uses for this case. We can say in this parameter, we're just going to type in input and we'll say what is your name, just like this. And let's see if this works. So I'm going to comment this out right there, and if we're to run our code, let's see if this is going to work and end up being the most quick way for you to deal with user input in functions. So in our terminal, we can see our prompt, what is your name? And I'll type in Michael. And as you can see, I get the same response, which is hello, Michael. But this method is only used if you want to store the user input inside of a variable. This method can be used for multiple things. Let's say if you want different responses from different people, we can copy and paste this multiple times and keep on getting different names. And if I run our code, I'm expected to get 5 different prompts for my name, and they'll each run one by one. So the first prompt I'm going to get is what is your name? I'll type John in this first prompt and I'll get hello John. I'll get the prompt a second time and I'll type Michael, and I get hello Michael. I can type in different names at different times and I will keep on getting different names, just like that, until the code essentially finishes running. So that's the basics on how you can use parameters and use functions within Python. You can use functions for multiple cases, including numerical operations. Here's my addition function, just like this, and I pass in the pass. So ideally what this keyword in functions is meant to do is, in case you don't have code within your function, you can type in the pass keyword and then your function will be left empty without any code within it. So addition, and this will be my subtraction function, just like this, and I'll type in pass as well. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, pass, and we can add in division, our division function too, and just pass it, just like this. So in our first parameter, we can add the two values for addition, number1, comma, num2, just like this. So these numbers are essentially what we're going to use for our functions in these parameters, and we can add them, we can copy and paste them in each of these parameters. So for addition, what we ought to do is just print num1 plus num2, just like this, and we can use this exact same line of code on all our other things and just change the symbol, as you can see, just like that. And for multiplication, we use an asterisk, just like that, and for division we use a slash, a forward slash, just like that. So these are our 4 lines of code, and let me just add spacing so that you can see them more clearer. And these are our 4 lines of code: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So if we wanted to add and then call our addition function like this, and all we have to do is just add our 2 numbers, let's say 10 and 5, and what we're expected to see in our terminal is the summation of 10 and 5. And this is the use of functions within Python because it makes code look more organized and is used in sequential data organization. And as you can see in our terminal, we get 15. Let's say we wanted to do division. We just type in our name of our division function, run our code, and in our terminal, we're expected to see 10 divided by 5. And as you can see, we get 2 right there in our terminal. So to make this more user, like something you can use for multiple cases or your own program, we can use if statements in user input. So let's say user input is equal to input, what do you want to calculate? What do you want to calculate? Just like this, with a question mark right there. Then this is our prompt, and what we want to calculate will be stored inside of user input. So then we can add an if statement, if user input. For those of you that don't know if statements, this is a basic brief on if statements. So it starts with if user input, which is the variable, if it's equal to addition. And what we're going to do is we're going to run our addition function with our 2 variables being 1 and 2, and we can copy and we can use our elif function elif, which stands for else if user input is equal to subtraction, and we'll do the same right there, and we'll continue using elif for the rest of the functions too, and we'll run the multiplication function there, and elif user input is equal to division, we're going to run the division function just like that. And as you can see, this is a fully working Python script that you can actually use for your day-to-day activities. Even though it's very basic without any graphics, it's very functional and easy to use. So all I have to do is type in addition, and then it will run our addition function, giving out 1 and 2, as you can see right there. Now, what if I wanted to be the one to input the variables I need? I would say int, which stands for integer. This function in Python is used to change the strings into integers. So I type in int, which stands for integer, open and close parentheses, just like that. And then inside this int, I'm going to type in input and open and close parentheses, just like that. Then I'll type in first number as our prompt, just like this. This is our first prompt, and I'll add a plus symbol right here and do the same on the other side. Input, and in our prompt, I would say second number, just like that. So we have our prompt just like that, and we have created our Python script. So what we're going to do now is copy this over here and then paste it inside of the other functions. In our subtraction function, I'm going to clear this and just paste that right there. And this is my subtraction function. And in multiplication, I'm going to clear this, paste that, add an asterisk instead, which stands for multiplication. And in my division function, I'm going to remove this 1, 2 and add that. And it will be a / just like that. And when we run our code, we're expected to be greeted with the first prompt, which is what you want to calculate, and a second prompt of what our first and second numbers are. So in our terminal, we first get what do you want to calculate, and I'll type in addition. And it will ask me for my first number. I'll say 3. My second number will be 7. And when we run our code, we get an error missing an argument. So essentially what this means is our parameters here were not filled correctly. So as you can see, it says addition. Our first parameter is right here. This is our first parameter, int input first number. So this is our first parameter. And all we have to do is remove this, add a comma instead. That's the error we made, and we are not supposed to have those signs. We're supposed to have commas instead, because the signs are already here in these functions. So let me just remove all these signs and replace them for commas right there, just like that. And these commas are used to separate data when running our function code, when calling upon these different variables stored inside these parameters. And make sure you never make that mistake, because this can be very crucial and could cause a crash in your Python code. And I'll try that again by typing in addition. My first number will be 4 and my second number will be 7. And as you can see, I get number 11 just like that. And if I was to run it again, let's say I want to try my multiplication function, I would have to run my code, type in my prompt and type in multiplication just like that. And our first number will be 4, our second number will be 8, and when you multiply the two, we get 32. And if you want it to be continuous and don't want to keep on running your code, you can make this a while loop. We can type in while 1 is equal to 1. You can run this code, and all you have to do is indent all of these lines of code just like this, indent each and every one of them just like this, and there we have it. Our code is entered into our while loop, and we will keep on getting asked each time we finish running our code. Now let's try this one more time, but this time with our division function. All we have to do is type in division right there. Our first number is going to be 10 and our second number will be 2, and we get 5. And let's try our subtraction function. subtraction, just like that, subtraction, and our first number will be 10 and second number will be 3, and there we have it. Our answer is 7. And as easy as that, in only these few lines of code, we have made our basic calculator using Python functions. You can keep on trying this with other custom functions you want to make. Let's say you want to make something that can solve your mathematics formulas, something that can solve your physics formulas, or anything that can help you do your day-to-day life work. You can use Python functions to help you with each and every one of these. And to test out our addition function one last time, we type in 4 and 10 would get 14. We can type in addition one last time, and let's use a decimal this time, 13.2. And here we have it, we get an error because our integer is not a boolean. So essentially what an integer is an integer is a whole number and a boolean is a decimal number. So the difference between an integer and a boolean is an integer is equal to numbers like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a boolean is equal to numbers like 1.5 or 2.5 or 6.7. And these are our booleans and these are our integers. And if you want a video on how you can convert integers into booleans, we can discuss that in our later video. And just make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get notified when the video comes out. And for more tutorials and more lessons based on other programming language including Python, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video so that the video gets boosted to other people worldwide. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.